Hi guys, today let's discuss the many dynamics of dating white women for black men and how society perceived interracial couples. Many black males out there seem as though they don't find white women appealing. White females aren't exceptional, my favorite white girls aren't my type, or my girl needs to have pigmentation are some of the statements said. Well, first thing, it's time to retire the overused adage that only African Americans have pigment in their skin. The second, white girls aren't exceptional. In fact, they tend to behave badly with other women. They do, however, make much better girlfriends within the framework of a relationship with a guy of substance than the people that everyone believes we should be in relationships with. I'll leave the math to you there. The third, nobody likes gorgeous women, regardless of race, but by lying to the public by claiming they wouldn't be with one. These brothers are clearly in the group of black males who genuinely don't think they can get with these lovely white women. Currently, I don't have the time or the patience to persuade a bunch of guys who have been persuaded by their own community that dating someone of a different race somehow changes them for the better or worse. But for the brothers out there who are inexperienced in dating interracially, who are looking to broaden their horizons and seek better options, I'm going to give you the Reader's Digest version of what to expect when approaching and dating white women. There is no hope for those men, and quite frankly, I don't care. I'll also talk about the disadvantages of interracial dating. Dating white ladies isn't always a bed of roses either. Like everything in life, there are costs as well as benefits. At the conclusion of this video, you might not feel that it is worthwhile to pursue women who are not of your race, but at least you will have the knowledge necessary to make an informed choice free from the sway of the brainwashing you have experienced throughout your entire life. Let's start by talking about what to expect when approaching white females. You need to know that white girls and other non-black women react extremely differently to brothers than to other racial groups of guys when they are approached. And there are 4 key factors that immediately stuck out to me as things that brothers should absolutely be aware of while pursuing these ladies. 1. White ladies seldom ask us to demonstrate our masculinity, yet the majority of white men in America are expected to do just that. The unwritten belief that black males are natural alphas in the United States prevents brothers from having to deal with this issue as frequently as they would elsewhere. Hip-hop culture and black professional athletes do present a compelling case for this hypothesis, but nobody can say for sure. The benefit of making this assumption is that if any white girls test black men at all, it will be for confirmation rather than qualifications. Disadvantage of this assumption is that if you fail a masculinity test or a test, you are beyond finished, because the culture as a whole tells the majority of women that black men have natural alpha tendencies they expect. However, white girls and non-black women tend to give more black men the instant stamp of masculinity than other races of men. Understand this, gentlemen. Nothing is more unattractive than a black man who is not masculine most of the time. I failed even one masculinity test, and I have rarely been given a chance to redeem me even if my game was rock solid to that point. They check out the minute I made a misstep, so even though we do have an advantage there, if they don't see it or they sense even trace amounts of weakness in you, they're going to turn around. Assuming we're natural alpha sets a lot of expectations with white girls. They expect us to be upfront and straightforward and are ready for us to be bold and forthright when we run the game on them, which means they expect us to quickly escalate the interaction towards bedroom fun almost immediately. The benefit of this is that it relieves a lot of pressure. Knowing that a white girl expects us to make a strong play to get some action means that if they give up the digits, they're likely to give up the intimacy. The drawback of this is that it can be very challenging to approach them during the day because it can be challenging to get past their good girl shields. Now granted, most men must do this anyway because hot girls correctly assume that the reason most men talk to them is that they want to smash, but when they're approached by a brother, they are 100% certain of what we're after, and if they're not deaf, they're not receptive to the game at all. The result is a lot of rejection, which is again a part of the game because you can't win them all, fellas, but on the other hand, time is a man's most valuable resource, so the fact that white girls and non-black women expect us to push for intimacy early and often saves us a lot of time. When I used to approach white girls, day or night, they made it very clear to me whether they were interested, and they very rarely wasted time voicing this. If they were feeling my game, they start to reciprocate. I get the digits and the rest is history. The third thing you should be aware of is that, whether we like to admit it or not, white men are at the top of the intimacy food chain, and young, attractive white girls rarely consider black men as options for long-term relationships. When the average American white girl or non-black woman fantasizes about her perfect boyfriend or her married life, she rarely considers the possibility of her beau being a black man. Let me qualify that last statement. If there is a black man who is better looking, has a better job, is in better shape, and has a better handle on women than the typical white guy, most women regardless of race will gravitate towards the black guy because he's just a better option, skin tone notwithstanding. Women of all races with white girls' sensibilities prefer white guys. To be clear, I'm not saying that white men are better than other races of men in any way. But if you have a white and a black male who both have great looks, a good grasp of women, great jobs, and are in great shape, white girls are going to choose the white guy better than 9 times out of 10. Call it unfair, but facts are facts, and if you just look around, you'll see that white men are pretty much every woman's type. Although interracial dating between black men and white women is increasingly accepted in America, there is still some taboo attached to it, no matter how covert. Add to that the hive-minded mentality that most American women have, where they all have the same values and viewpoints, and you have a recipe for disaster. The perception that black men don't earn as much as white men and social stigma are major obstacles for white girls when it comes to marriage and settling down. But white girls in this country are positively mystified by the lure of the black male's prowess in the bedroom. It is very rare for young, attractive white and non-black women to consider brothers as long-term options. Regardless of their age, all white females want to discover the truth behind the assertion that once you go black, you never go back. Now, the obvious advantage here is that it leads to a lot of easy lays with white girls, especially in today's girl power culture that encourages women to sleep around. However, not all black men smash like adult film stars, and we do not all have huge P's. Women who have experience with more than one brother are aware of this. There is no real downside to not being viewed as husbands or long-term boyfriends by white girls unless you're looking for a long-term commitment. But those who have never crossed over can't help themselves. They have to know, so as soon as the opportunity presents itself, any white woman who is even slightly curious almost involuntarily drops her pants when a black man strikes up a conversation with her. So now that you know what to anticipate when you approach white females and non-black women, these girls are some of the easiest targets out there if you're just seeking to crush as many Caucasian girls as you can. Let's now discuss what to anticipate when you interact with them on many levels. To start, you should anticipate receiving excellent treatment. A white girl will do everything to improve your life if you have an active, intimate relationship with her and treat her like a man by demanding the best from her, articulating your expectations up front, and holding her to her promise to meet them. Before I made my woman my main girl, she treated me like a god every time we saw each other. She cooked for me, made sure my place was clean, waited on me hand and foot, and never hesitated to get on her knees and handle her business. This behavior still occurs today. In addition to giving you intimacy whenever and wherever you damn well please, they will also put their domestic skills front and center to keep you around and show their appreciation for you. At the end of the day, the vast majority of people won't have a problem with you dating someone of a different race, but you should be aware that when you start dating white girls, some people will treat you differently. Some will treat you better. Most won't change at all. However, if you anticipate your life to remain unchanged when you start dealing with blondes with blue eyes and hair, think again. With this knowledge, you can now make an informed decision. That's it for today, guys. Hope you learned from this. Until next time.